行くね色気がね
Forget the Hadouken! Ranma 1/2 is bursting at the seams with tons of special maneuvers. I'm sure every Ranma fan has their favorite. To make it to the top of this prestigious list, a special move must be graded thusly: 50% coolness, 20% usefulness, 20% originality, and another 10% to how cool it is to shout out in the heat of battle. This will, without a doubt, be the coolest sounding group of names to ever grace a top 10 list. Without further ado, here are my personal top 10 special moves of Ranma 1/2. The Ramen Roundup Noodle Noose is the signature move of a lesser character in the Ranma 1/2 universe, Kaori Daikoku. Kaori is proficient in martial arts takeout, similar to martial arts okonomiyaki, in that everyday comestibles become deadly weapons. And when I say deadly, the Noodle Noose ain't playing around. A lasso of lo mein noodles as thick as a rope ensnare the neck of the opponent, and then constrict like a snake, causing pain and strangulation. It's one of those moves that's hard to watch, cause you yourself can picture what it would be like to gasp every breath as if it were your last, to know that that crunching sound is actually your windpipe folding over onto itself. Pretty scary stuff. That's the Ramen Roundup Noodle Noose! In at number 10. When it comes to patented maneuvers, they don't get much more complicated than the Hiryu Shoten-ha, or the Flying Dragon Heavenly Ascension Wave. Once mastered, it can spell the instant end to any battle. To make it work, one must goad the opponent into following himself in the pattern of a spiral, blocking attacks all the while. The natural heat of the opponent's anger, mixed with the natural cool of a calm fighter's heart, creates a chain reaction, and at the center of the spiral an immense upward thrust can be fired, sometimes taking the form of a dragon. Ranma Saotome would later become so proficient in using this move that he can forego the spiral somewhat, and not only fire off the move, but shoot it horizontally. Of course, this move is always a last resort, for it pretty much leaves him drained after its use. So if you dare use this move, don't you dare miss. That's the Hiryu Shoten Ha! At number 9. Prince Toma is the self-proclaimed master of illusions, and his trademark finisher, the Yogen Ran Gigidan, or Mystic Illusion Chaos Strike, may indeed be a mirage, but its danger is as real as the genuine article. With a glowing Vorpal sword, he summons a fiery funnel of death that engulfs his opponent and cooks him alive. The fire is merely an illusion. To disbelieve its existence renders the move harmless, but to see this conflagration, pure burning hell directed squarely at you, you're naturally going to believe. A fallible move that earns great brownie points for creativity. That's the Yogen Ran Gigidan! In at number 8. This one most definitely qualifies as the move I would least want to be on the receiving end of. Prince Kirin's faithful underling, the sultry Siren Mon Lone, has one of the most deadly attacks one can dream up, the Mak Yin Kin Bak Sho, or Phantom Restriction Attack. Once an opponent is entwined in these ultra-deadly homing loot cables, he is pretty much done for. A simple twang of the wire will cut deep into a limb, jam on the cords, and it's nice knowing you. Had Shampoo not shown up here, Ranma would have met an untimely and unthinkably graphic demise. That's the Bak Yin King Bak Sho! In at number 7. Alright, I know I've made a lot of people angry by having the Kachu Tenchin Amaguriken, or chestnuts roasting on an open fire technique, so far down on the list, but it takes a dive in the originality category. This move has been seen in 100 different places, from Street Fighter II to Fist of the North Star. As Ranma's first great signature move, the Amaguriken may still be one of his most useful moves, as not only can he strike 100 different blows in mere seconds, but with each strike he knows full well where on his opponent his hands are, which makes this an even greater defensive maneuver for parrying incoming attacks. Ranma may have toiled long and hard to learn it, but it was all worth it. The Kachu Tenchin Amaguriken is still a wicked nasty move, and that's why it's in at number 6. Mikado Sanzanin and Azusa Shiratori have some of the flashiest tandem moves in animation, and this technique, the Good-Bye Whirl, may be the only attack that forces the opponent to make a judgment call. With enormous strength, Mikado lifts the two opponents and his partner up into the air, and then launches into a gravity-defying pirouette, spinning the two opponents sick. The golden pair takes pride in breaking up loving couples, and this is the definitive move to do it with. Do I continue to suffer with my partner side by side, or do I let her loose? Sacrifice her for my own well-being? Once a couple is victimized by this instrument of torture, they will never be the same again. The Good-Bye Whirl! Our number 5 special move. The Shishi Hokodan may seem like just a basic fireball, but that's just scratching the surface of this move's complexity. It is basically the external firing of one's ki energy. The heavier the ki, the more powerful the attack, and a heavy ki is determined by things like motivation, emotion, and psyche. Ryoga Hibiki has a limitless source to tap into, that being pain and misery. From his awful luck, to his Jusenkyo curse, to his downright rotten love life, Ryoga's an emotional volcano ready to pop its top. Mastering the Shishi Hokodan came easy for him, and once mastered, it isn't a fireball projectile at all. The fully mastered Shishi Hokodan is actually a massive burst of energy that rises up from Ryoga, and then comes crashing back down, crushing everything beneath. The attack doesn't affect the user, for he is completely empty of ki the second the attack passes through him. Once fired off, Ryoga's ki shortly returns, and the attack can be utilized again and again. A seemingly unbeatable attack, and its name is fun as hell to shout out loud. Shishi Hokodan! I've mentioned this particular move before, and it warrants a second look. Mikado Sanzanin's Dance of Death was not only a sick attack, but a powerful moment in Ranma 1/2. Pirouetting into a swirling tempest with its own orbit, Mikado sucks his opponent into his spin with the centrifugal force, and then he's his to play with. Sure, Ranma got his licks in while caught in this hold's death grip, but Mikado got his licks in as well. Coolness beyond belief. Behold the Dance of Death! At number 3. The Buckside Tenketsu, or breaking point technique. Like the Shishi Hokodan, was never intended to be an offensive maneuver, but rather a tool used in quarries to clear out areas of rock. Nonetheless, the Buckside Tenketsu is wicked cool. Everything in nature has a breaking point, one solitary spot that, if touched with the correct pressure, could make said object shatter and explode. The trick is trying to find the G-spot, a feat that only the most focused mind could scope out. Ryoga Hibiki may be a dullard, but when it comes to martial arts, he's all in, and he perfected this move through much torture and hardship, which in turn strengthened his constitution, making him practically bulletproof. True, there is no breaking point to the human body, but Ryoga can use this move to create havoc and confusion, and even pull off a few offensive moves with his flying rocks and seismic cracks. Plus, of all the moves in Ranma, it sounds the coolest. Buckside Tenketsu! I love the sound of that. That's my number 2. Here it is, my number 1 special attack of Ranma 1/2. This particular top 10 I put a lot of work into. I thought long and hard over the moves most deserving to be on this list. Except for number 1. Number 1 was easy. How could it be anything else? Ladies and gentlemen, I give to you the Happo 5-yen Satsu, used by underutilized character Hinako Ninomiya. This is such a brilliantly diverse, intricate power, I almost don't know where to begin. Hinako uses the Satsu to eat an opponent's battle aura, channeling the energy into her body using a Japanese yen coin as the pathway. The bigger the coin, the more effective it would seem the transfer is. As she absorbs the aura, her body grows stronger, and her opponent turns into a pathetic mush of chicken scratch. Also, one cannot mention the Happo 5-yen Satsu without also mentioning its complementary attack, the Happo no Yen Coin Return, in which Hinako can fire all the previously drained aura right back at her weakened opponent, in the form of a white-hot sunfire. This attack just plain kicks ass in its effectiveness, but even more so for its creativity. A perfect signature move in every way. The Happo 5 Yen Satsu is my personal #1 special attack.
Hooray! A bullseye!
Wow, what amazing skills she's got.
It's so-so.